Hey, everybody. drmike.org here. I'm having a pretty good day. It's early. This is my third video. The other two are about quitting smoking, which, if you are a smoker or know someone who wants to quit, you should check them out, or have them check it out, rather. Have them go to todaystopsmoking.com. So, this is more on my philosophical self, talking about ultra being as a way of a living philosophy, and having sort of this ideal sense of awareness. We're talking about self-realization, but also what is this potential or this ideal imagine for thinking about consciousness and how we're evolving as a species, or how you are and the quality of the way of your ultra being present. What type of person are you? Well, that's what one part of my work explores, because I endeavor to experience states of enlightenment. What's enlightenment? I want to find out about that. So it's really more where you're living, coming from, which is a gift, presence of the moment, because there's true love and appreciation. So we call it ultra being. So this has been a pursuit since I've can track, at least consciously, since what a very young age, 13 when I joined a New Age religion. Can you imagine that in 8th grade? It's like, we got to check out this. Me and my buddy Guy from England. It's like, happened to be in my class. Like, yeah, let's join, explore. So we're talking about conscious capture. So what is this? So earlier I was thinking, well, I want to talk about this, and let's make this the real breakthrough video. And maybe next time I'll be in a suit and tie, holding up the book. So conscious capture really is just sort of, it's a way of coming to the moment, right? So present, like how am I present versus thinking of the past or the future, or imagining something else that's just a fantasy, or, getting in the vlog. I love my acronyms because they're kind of formulas to memory things, to kind of relocate and position things and how we think them out. Well, this guy's kind of like wild today in the way he's looking. I got to sort of go to the mirror before I go live. But anyway, conscious capture is what we're talking about. So it's having a sense of awareness of how we're present, right? So as we're observing things, could there be a formula or a syntax, which is a pattern approach, to where one doesn't trip up, where they get the full sense of things and the awareness that empowers them, at least to the idea, again, of this enlightened idea, right? What is enlightenment to you? What is living the best life possible? How can we become the most aware person that we can be? Which would be what, in the whole regard, considerate in the way that you're heartfelt and just natural, right? So in the way that we can relate to people, we can have a breakthrough. So that's what this is about. Anything else is sort of an avoidance, or it's really ignorance because a person is not getting it because they're unable to conscious capture. I'm not saying unable. There's probably something that's in that sense, in that time, in that moment, because tomorrow could be a different story, right? What is it that they're doing? What is it that they're saying? So to understand another person in the way that you can relate to them better, that's going to encourage rapport, right? And rapport is kind of what it's about. If you're going to have a good connection, you have to have good rapport. So what are the things that tie into it? And I have a whole talk on this on my mikesmastermind.com podcast, mikesmastermind.com, where I talk about the TIE principle, TIE. I know their acronym, one of the earlier ones too, where when I would observe people who really did seem to be masters in the moment, like what qualities were they emulating that you could sort of study and see if you really were to go deep into the observation, because there would be a patterned approach. And what I noticed in the TIE principle is that they were very considerate, in which that they were permission oriented. They did not want to go into your space, man, unless you were kind of invited. And first, you'd have to have this sense of permission. Are you welcome there? Because if you weren't feeling welcome, why would you go there? Now, there might be something to work out or ask or try to figure out. So the pattern approach would be very simple. You ask permission for a person's time. TIE. Is this a good time for us to talk? Got to ask, I need about 5 minutes. Or if it's busy for them, you could schedule it, get out your appointment calendars, and sort of do it that way. Just make clear, like, hey, I would like to talk about the I and the tie, which is what? This is what the issue is. But you have to check in to see if that I and the tie is of interest to them, because that's the I and the tie. It's like, who am I in this case? What's my intention, right? I want to talk to you about this topic. Would that be of interest to you? Because it's of interest to me. It's kind of important. The I and the tie. Now, if it's not interesting to them, you can't go there. You might make a quick pitch and go, well, this is the reason why. But if it's sort of like, no, I'm sorry, that's it. You got to respect that. It can be challenging, right? Because it's so interesting to you, intriguing, if nothing else. So the E in the tie, in this respect, is sort of, given the experience of the moment, are things right? You got their time? Yeah, let's talk right now. I'm good for about 10, 15 minutes. What do you got to say? What's the I in the tie? That's interesting. And the E is kind of the experience of it energetically. Because a person could say, I got the time and the interest, but they're kind of like, man, they haven't had coffee yet. Let's go to the coffee shop. And you have that kind of as your environment. So the E is very experiential in the sense that checking in on the energy. Is this right? Because you might be excited by the time and the interest and everything, but they're experiencing something else. And is the environment right? Because they could be saying, hey, let's talk now, but man, you got buzzards flying overhead or people interrupting or, cars are honking. Sort of, you got to make sure this is working. And the TIE principle, TIE, is going to help you get there. So it's permission oriented at a level of mastery, time, interest, and energy. Otherwise, you're sucking it away. You'd be stealing it like an energy vampire. And this is not what this work is about. We're all about stopping disassociation. So we have more of this consideration of warm and welcoming, something that's real and energetically aligned, that's easy to connect to. And because you're keeping such great company, there's this level of consideration. You have conscious capture. And this is the crowning achievement because it's very kind. It's very kind. This is what the work's about. So the conscious capture of the moment, even though there could be an interpretation of what something else going on, as you could say, explorers in this regard of, at least in my world, being a social scientist. This is the claim he's making. I'm just observing. So I'm studying society, basically. And this is sort of how, whether you call it social psychology or some kind of spirituality, it's really just observation of something of the observer being observed. I'm in my own experience of things. And if I'm making a claim of a social scientist, what am I learning for myself about myself that's conscious capture in the sense that I can relate to it? And it might be a fleeting moment of something that, oh, aha, an epiphany, something that's just sort of like, and does it lead to something that's really continuous in the path of helping to awaken consciousness, raise awareness in society, make me a better person the way that I relate to you, not ever making you wrong. If something needs to be sorted out in the sense that, hey, you might need to talk about that. We want to work through it rather than position someone in a life sentence that you're going to regret for the rest of their life because it reverberates something you said. So you make it up, you apologize, maybe you owe the person money, you pay them back, or you figure out a payment plan, karma due, or something you made up. An apology goes a long way, just reaching out and trying. And depending on their, tie, how they're going to tie into it. It's just basically that you're making a positive attempt and you don't force the issue and you do it in the best possible way. Maybe your next approach, next ask next time will be a bit more whole-brained, more of this I awareness of what am I thinking, what are my words, how am I acting? This becomes a bit of a practice of I awareness. And this is what the work's about. How do we evolve ultra being consciousness? You can check out more about me at drmike.org and mikesmastermind.com. It's the podcast. Conscious capture is something really of interest. And we'll talk about this and explore a bit more of the doors of perception will be the next talk and how we can a bit more self-realize and actualize the moment. So I hope this is of interest to you. drmike.org. Thank you. mikesmastermind.com. Check it out. mikesmastermind.com.